What's going on, Stars fans? This is JJ, about to be joined with my buddy Weldon. I cannot speak. That was a result of the game last night. That was some game. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and start this music, and by the time it's over, my buddy Weldon will be on the show. So let's get this thing rolling.
What's up?
Wow, that was quick. What's going on?
Not much. Just recovering from last night.
Yeah, how was it?
That was that was an incredible game.
Oh, I know.
The atmosphere in that place was nuts. So
Love hearing that.
yeah.
I seem to remember some people saying the crowd wasn't loud enough, and the Stars social media people made light of that a time or two.
Yeah. There's times in any arena that it gets quiet and everything. Because you can't have your media person, bumping music and talking while the play is going, but
Yeah.
people are not every playoff game that I've watched so far this year, there's dead spots in the crowd. That's people are watching the game. They're not there just to, yell. So,
AKA, this isn't a wrestling arena, it's a hockey game.
no. It's the people that sit around me that want to sit there and talk about work. Those are the ones that I want to turn around and tell them to shut the, you know, up.
I don't have a censor button.
No.
Glad,
So,
glad you did that.
well, it's an adult show,
Yeah, sort of. You never know.
But,
So, Stanley Cup champion, well, defending Stanley Cup champions are now golfing.
yep.
Crazy.
Well, that's what happens when you bring in a whole bunch of new people and you try to rebuild your team because there were games that Vegas looked out of sorts,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, you know, Dallas added one piece here, one piece there, and and that was it. They didn't need to go add what what they bring in four new people. Well, not necessarily new, but four people that hadn't been playing in a while. You know, so
We'll just call them plug-in people for a
yeah,
plug-in. Jeez, dude.
so they just. There were times that they looked out of sorts, and even the game last night, it could have gone either way. It was that tight of a game. You know,
Man, I was watching from the comfort of my bedroom and I screamed like I don't even know 5 times
yeah.
just in the third period alone.
Oh yeah.
Like, holy moly. I didn't even think the Stars were gonna come out on top, man, until like I would have said double overtime, if anything.
Yeah. Yeah, we were kind of prepared for overtime if it went to it. I was hoping it wasn't going to it, but
I think we all were.
so
And then we see the keeper of the Stanley Cup Twitter kind of take a jab at them. Did you see that?
Oh, the one that I forgot what he said. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except me, or something like that.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, does that mean that person's not a Vegas Golden Knight fan? Yikes.
Well, he can't be really a fan of anybody.
Yeah, but nobody was a fan of Vegas this year except for maybe
No.
their diehards. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna not. I'm gonna backpedal out of that before I say something stupid.
So,
All 10 fans of theirs.
they've got a good fan base. People
They do.
have taken to them. So, but I was listening to one show this morning when I was driving that Vegas is going to have to take a look in the mirror at what they've done because they're so aggressive to these last few years. They don't have a first round pick until they don't have any this year. They don't have any next year. And I don't think they have any in 2026. No first round picks because they've traded them all away.
That's some funky. We'll call
Yeah,
it funky
that's just,
management.
I was trying. Darn! I thought I saved the post that the person that they put up, but they traded away a lot.
It's almost like they're trading first round picks like they're freaking candy.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
they're kind of, to me, and this is a football analogy, they're kind of like the Colorado Buffalo, the NCAA. They're loading their team with trade portal kids.
yeah,
You know. Now granted, they did make a smart move with Hannafin and Hurdle. Both of those guys have got term on their contracts. So,
yeah.
well, Hurdle doesn't. Hurdle has 6 years left. Hannafin, they just re-upped him for 8 years. So, you know,
But I mean, that's what you're supposed to do in a trade. You're supposed to trade for rentals that maybe you're at least looking to
yeah,
resign.
that you're going to be able to keep. You know,
Yeah, like
I
I
mean,
mean, the
and
Stars did that with Zuccarello too.
yeah, and
They tried.
unfortunately, he just wanted too much money.
Yeah, we
So,
didn't. To the best of my knowledge, the Stars didn't just go, "Oh, here you go, take a first rounder for this guy," and oh no, we're not going to sign him next year at all.
yeah,
Like, no, that's not how you win.
nope. You've got to be able to build that team and keep that team together. You know, that's that's like I really hope that they can work a deal with Tanev to be able to keep him. You know,
Oh shoot, Tanev and Duchesne coming back. Oh my.
yeah, if they could get both of them back, then drop in a couple of rookies to bring up on offense or maybe one on defense, and you know, so
That's kind of wild. Like the Stars are actually in a position where the two people they brought in this season are enough.
yeah, I still think they need a little bit more help back on D. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think Liam Bichelle from Texas is ready yet. I think he still needs to play at least a full year at Texas, not jump back and go back to whatever foreign land he came from, Sweden, Switzerland, wherever. Go back and play in that league. You know, he needs to play a full year of U.S. hockey, get used to the smaller rink and
Mm.
everything, and give him 1 or 2 years, and then he's ready. And then by then, some of our older guys are going to start working their way out. I mean, Suter will be gone in a couple next year, I think. Um, Depending on if they re-sign Essa, which I can't see them not re-signing Essa. Tanev, hopefully they can put him down for maybe 3 years. Because he's a little bit older of a guy. I think he's in his early 30s. I think. Don't remember correctly. I think he's 31, maybe. So
That's still the younger side.
yeah,
So
he's still young. I mean, it's not like he's some old guy. He's not Pav's age. But still,
that
but still kicking ass. So
really bothers me. 39's old. Come on now.
yeah, he's 30. Tanev is 34. So
Yeah,
God,
he is still on the younger side then.
my God, he was born when I graduated high school.
Dare I ask?
88.
Whoa. When I was 3? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Nice.
But so I mean, like you said, Dallas is set to be good for a fair amount of years. I mean, because our core players, everyone's under 25. You know.
And it's really cool because I don't know if you've monitored my social media stuff, but I get messages and even comments like, "What do you think about Wyatt Johnston?" The same question I posed to you, I believe, the last time we talked. Wyatt Johnston getting an A or a C or a Robo, like it's so cool to see that.
Oh, I could see those guys within the next few years having A's, and depending on what goes on with Jamie, because Jamie's I think only got one more year left on his contract. You
He
know,
could throw you a curveball too and say, "You know what, I'm done."
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it could very easily happen. So
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him or Suter or even Joe,
yeah,
like to finish out the year and then look at the next or whatever the case. It doesn't have to necessarily happen by the time the contract is over that they
yeah.
have. They
So
can.
Jamie becomes an unrestricted free agent in the season of 25-26. So not this coming season, the season after. So
I think we'll know a lot about his future by the next season, though,
yeah. Oh yeah.
because I mean, you'll hear about it like, oh, contract negotiations have begun
Yeah.
such and such time, And if they don't, it's just like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
Who was it that caught my attention just recently? I think it might have been Pavelski.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was wondering what was happening with him. I still don't know.
Yeah. They haven't said anything. So
That's
Jamie's 34 also. He was born July 18th of 89. So
oh my gosh.
I know it makes me feel old.
You?
You
I'm
know.
not that far off him and I feel old.
So it's like, could he extend out could he start doing what Pavs is doing and do a year by year? Okay, give me this amount of money and I don't stay and I'm not long term, you know. He's gonna be what Mo is without Mo ever getting traded, you know.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because I could see them having him once he decides to retire, he's going to retire as the captain. I don't think they're going to take it away from him until he's ready to leave and everything. But yeah, I mean it's that's going to be a hard decision at who the next captain is. Because you've got Robo, you've got Rope, you've got Miro, now you've got Wyatt coming in there. You know, you've got Stankoven coming up. You've got Bork coming in fairly soon. You know, I don't think any of maybe two of those would be considered as captain. And I'm pushing more towards Wyatt or Robertson. You know,
Really?
yeah, Miro would be a good captain, but I don't. I mean, other than Hatcher, what defenseman's ever been a captain?
Hatcher's all I can think of for us.
So
I idolized Darian Hatcher when
yeah,
I was a teenager. Like that dude was a tank.
oh yeah,
And I
So
think the closest thing you have to him right now, tank wise, would be Jamie.
yeah,
Like Jamie's a tank too. He showed you guys. He showed all the naysayers. Oh, he shouldn't be on the team. Man, did you see how many people he threw on the ice?
oh yeah. Well, and it's like I argued with a couple of people yesterday, and they're like, "Oh, why are they bringing Delandria out and putting Foxa in? He's been playing so well." Which, granted, Delandria played amazing for those 3 or 4 games that he was in. He
Mm-hmm.
should be in the lineup, but
Mm-hmm.
Dallas has just got too many good forwards. So but I was very happy with them putting Foxa back in. One, he's a tremendous uh, defensive forward. Yeah, I mean, every year he plays at the level that he should be nominated in the Selke conversation, but he's never going to get it until probably either the Stars either win another cup, or he has some huge breakout game when they're in Montreal or Toronto or one of these, where all the damn writers are.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, he plays a better defensive game than Barkov, who was the other two that were nominated for Selkies. I I want to say Kachuk, which I don't see where Matthew Kachuk plays a big defensive forward role.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it's they've got good problems. Just put it
They
that
do. They do, man. It's crazy. Like you were saying possible future captains, and I'm thinking right off the bat after Jamie, I think Robo gets the C.
way. Yeah, I think it's between Robo and Wyatt because
Wyatt.
I would be willing to bet that Jamie's going to have a lot to say at who it's handed to,
Oh
and
yeah,
and I think Pavs is going to have a lot at who it's being handed to.
yeah,
Because I look at Pavs as basically a second captain, you know. Because I mean he was captain in San Jose for so many years, So
not only that, DeBoer's leaned on him.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he,
He's putting Wyatt out there in every situation,
yeah,
you know. So
that was so cool to see, man. And I caught wind of a bunch of posts and things like that on Facebook, and they're like, Wyatt Johnston, who is this kid? I saw Wyatt Johnston. Yeah, the secret's out now, and it's just like, it's about time.
well, the secret's been out since last year,
Yeah,
and unlike um, Robertson, where he had a little bit of a down year after his big breakout year last year, Wyatt didn't slow down. He actually did better than what he did the previous year. You
yeah, he's
know,
building up, isn't he?
you know, to where you look at him versus um, Matty Beniers, that got the Calder, Rookie of the Year last year. That could have very easily gone to Wyatt.
Oh yeah,
If he would have gotten a little bit hotter of a start, you know, I think he should have been.
Well, I mean, the Calder is kind of cute and all, being the rookie of the year or whatever it is. But there's that big silver thing. There's
Yeah.
a lot of other trophies that Wyatt could have his name on,
Oh
and
yeah. Oh,
like the
I think he's going to have his name on a lot of trophies before it's all said and done. You know.
I wouldn't mind seeing his name on a couple right freaking now, dude.
Yeah.
That kid is. How is he leading? What did they say? Leading the team in goals,
Yeah.
or is it points?
Let's, pretty sure he was leading in points this year. Let me look.
I mean the playoffs too, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's got 7. I think it's 7 points in this year.
They said something along the lines of that he was almost a point per game.
Yeah.
Playoffs, that
Yeah.
is. And the kids scoring from like these crazy angles too.
Yeah. So Robertson led in points with 80 points. So I like big time missed his point production this year. Um, but Wyatt was 65 points in 82 games. So 32 goals, 33 assists.
That means he's all over the ice.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
You know.
I'm not complaining at that production at all. And the sophomore year too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Come
because
on.
usually it's always the sophomore slump, and and he actually got better than what he did in the year before. So
So if that's the case, what's his third year gonna look like?
yeah,
Holy moly!
exactly. Because last year he was 41 points in 82 games, so he was half a point per game. This year he was 65 points in 82 games. He almost doubled his assist, missed it by 1. So
I'm sorry. I'm just proud of the kid.
yeah, I mean
Dang,
he's an amazing player.
he is. And
And I
talk.
mean he fit right in when DeBoer switched Pavs down to with Jamie and moved him up onto the top line. He didn't even miss a beat. You know.
Oh yeah, he was playing top line ice time, wasn't
Yeah.
he?
Yep.
At 20.
At 20.
That's nuts, dude. And they've got an even bigger. I don't want to say bigger rival coming up in Colorado, but a lot more
Well,
dangerous.
it's more of a rivalry.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think Colorado might be a tad bit more dangerous too.
they've got more offensive weapons.
Yeah.
And their defense is offensive weapons. So last night Wyatt played almost 18 minutes.
Not bad.
So
Almost a third of the game.
yeah. What I was shocked in, and this was a stat that they threw up off of one of the NHL shows I was listening to.
Mm-hmm.
So Tanev played a little over, I think they said 104 minutes throughout the entire series. Not a single 5-on-5 goal was scored.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
So that's what Tanev brought to this, brought into the defense. And that shocked me. I mean, because last night he played he played 24-19. Miro played 26-25.
Wow.
So, all those guys were, they were all pushing 20 minutes plus for the game. All our D-men were, except for, the guy I don't think even belongs in a green sweater anymore, especially after that stupid play that he made last night.
Oh, the amount of people I saw cussing that young man when that happened.
That had to have been the stupidest play. You
Uh,
know.
we don't want to bury the guy on this show. Let's.
Oh, and he's a restricted free agent right now. They've got to offer him something. And like I said, I was like, I'm up for putting him up to a two-way contract. If you want to keep him and invest time in him, because his offensive game there is absolutely no problem in.
Yeah,
But it was the same way with Harley. Harley, his offensive game there was no problems with. It was his defensive game. So he went to Texas. Coaches down there taught him how to play defense. That's the exact same thing that needs to happen with Nils. Because one, he's undersized. At least Harley's, a little over, I think Harley's 6'2, 6'3, you know. But Nils is just, I think he's 6'1, but oh no, I'm sorry. He's 5'11. So,
I feel like
and
we
he
talked
and
about that.
and he's only been playing for playing professionally for 2 years,
Yeah,
So he does still have a lot to learn. But I mean, there were people that were saying, "Oh, he needs more ice time. He needs more this. He needs more that." What happens last night if that goal would have cost us the game and the series?
that dude would have been barbecued alive by
Yeah,
people that don't even know what goes on.
yeah, you know,
They would have nailed him to the cross,
yeah.
dare I say.
I mean, it was such a bad play, and now people wonder why doesn't DeBoer trust him? You know, so you know,
Same reason he
and,
wasn't trusted in New York.
yeah, you know, and I mean, yes, Harley still made some mistakes, but they're way less than what it was when he first came up or he was first trying to get on to the main squad.
Hmm.
And they said, nope, we're going to send you to Texas. Go down there, get your game together, And he took it like a man, and he went down there, and he learned from those guys, and he became a prolific scorer down there. There's nothing wrong with his offensive game.
True.
you know. And I have a feeling when he gets his contract, he's probably going to get a short term contract. Probably 3 to 4 years, but he's only going to get better. You know,
Oh shoot.
so
With defense around him, heck yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's some great defensive coaches down there.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but it's just I personally I think that's where Nils needs to go. I think he needs to take a two-way deal, and go down there and learn some defense, And then if he makes it back, hey, great. Go down there and put your time in, but you can't be making, even like Owen said last night, you can make that mistake against Chicago and get away with it. You don't
Yeah.
make that mistake against the defending Stanley Cup champions in a game 7 that's a 1-goal game. You know that
Right.
that game last night should have been 2 or 3 to nothing because even they missed a couple of what should have been for sure goals, and they either couldn't get a stick on it or somebody blocked it at that the last second. So, I mean, I give Vegas credit. I mean, they played a hell of a game.
They always do.
You know.
That's a fast squad. They know how to hit.
Yep.
They're always, well, it seems always in the right place, the right time.
Yep. So.
And I saw people because of all that, what I just mentioned, blaming Jake for some of that stuff too. The soft goal thing kind of gets under my skin every time I see it.
Oh yeah.
If I can be brutally honest with you,
Well, I
after
mean,
you said it, it's just like I see that now.
yeah.
I mean, you can't help it that Vegas had a guy in front of the net and behind the net and just ready to go.
Yeah.
Just throwing that as a hypothetical thing.
Yeah.
There's some things you cannot help. It's not all on Jake. It's on the goal support. It's on everybody.
Yeah. The defense has got to work in tune with him to make sure that, there were a couple of plays last night that, they should have been tap ins, where
Oh yeah,
Jake was just a little out of position or he overcommitted, and one of his D men, covered his ass.
yeah.
But I mean, he's still a young goaltender, so it's going to happen. I
A
mean,
young. Go ahead.
like last year, I mean, he would bite on the first move,
Mm-hmm.
and it drove me absolutely crazy, especially when we went to shootouts. It's like, oh God, here we go again. He's going to bite on the first move, and they're just going to slide it right by him, you know.
Yep.
And that's just the sign of being a young goaltender, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, he's young. He's doing all the right stuff though. He's
mhm.
learning as he goes. What was his first test? Was what was it? Tampa Bay? Isn't
Yeah,
that when he got his first taste of action?
yeah,
Was it the bubble?
yeah. It was in the bubble.
Stanley Cup Finals and all that. Man, that kid went toe to toe with the Stanley Cup champions
Yep,
twice
yep.
and
And it,
dethroned them this time.
yeah, and here was a fun fact for him. So, in Jake's Game 7 history,
Mm-hmm.
this is I think now it's what 3.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped 86 of 90 shots with a
Ooh.
save percentage of .956. That's well above elite goaltending. So,
To say the least.
so to all the people that were like, why isn't Wedgwood getting a shot in there? Like I said on the last show, I like Wedge. He'll never see the ice unless Jake gets hurt.
And even then, I'd say
And
you're doomed.
and until this run is done, that's all that they're looking at is keeping Jake healthy and giving him the best run support that they can give him.
They're gonna need to be there this coming round. Was it
Yeah,
tomorrow?
this next round tomorrow night, it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be an all out track meet, but it's going to be a lot closer to it.
I
It's
think
it's going to be more up and down hockey than what we saw in this last one. Because Vegas is very much a score first, lock it down, and they're playing the 1-3-1, and then you've got to flip it in behind them and hope you can get to it first and get a cycle going.
and that wasn't very likely for the
Yeah,
Stars.
I mean it was tough for the Stars,
It was.
but
Colorado could blow the doors off of Dallas very
oh yeah,
early, though.
I mean
That's the bad part.
yeah,
So, I mean, you got Makar, you got. Is Nichushkin playing? I think
yep,
he is, right?
yep.
So you got Val. That team is yikes.
Well, and then you've got McKinnon.
Yeah, McKinnon.
Um, unfortunately, Landeskog is he's still hurt and everything. So
That might be fortunate for the Stars,
yeah,
though.
I think that's going to be very fortunate for us that he's still out. But I hate seeing any player out, especially in the playoffs. But
Right. That's the time you want to be back.
yeah, exactly.
Playing for all the marbles, man. Well, I mean, based on the season history, how you feeling about Colorado? Because I can tell you, I'm kind of nervous.
I think it's going to be a long fight. I
Does it go
really
the
do.
full 7?
It very well possibly could.
Oof.
we'll we'll be there up until Game 7 because Game 7 would be the day after we leave.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yep. So
That's that's gonna be fun.
yeah, it'll be it's going to be a dogfight because they're almost built like we are. Um, I think they've got some guys that's got more top end speed than what we do. I mean, that Miro is going to match up against McKinnon every shift that they can get him on.
Hmm.
I don't see tomorrow night the fourth line starting against the McKinnon line. It's going to be, Miro and Tanev, starting against those guys. Those are going to be the guys that are going to be out on the ice every time the McKinnon line's out there, you know. But then,
Ah,
you've got the McKinnon line, but then you've also got to worry because I haven't watched them enough here lately to see if Val is playing on McKinnon's line or if he's playing on a line, you know, with somebody else, because he's playing the same way. I mean, Val's just, he's turned into a monster now. So,
the monster. He should have been here, but he
yeah.
quit.
Well, he had to grow up,
Mm,
you know. That's the sad thing about it. Some of these players, they mature, slower than others. And, I mean, it took him leaving and going to the KHL for what was it, 1 or 2 seasons? And then he came back for the final season here and he just didn't want to be here. So, he got bought out and Colorado took a chance on him and he didn't explode, you know, right off the bat. It took him a few years.
yeah.
So, but now he's playing amazing. So,
Yeah, there's some bitter fans like me, for example, too.
oh yeah. Oh, it should be a drinking game with one of the guys from off the diehards.
Oh no.
Every single time he sees Val out there, he's whining and complaining. You
I
know.
think I know who that is.
Oh yeah, you do.
I
So
mean, look, I'm happy for him, but the bitter part of me is why couldn't that have been here?
yeah.
That's it.
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't like
That's
the
that's any of them. I mean, most of the players when they've left here, it wasn't because they didn't want to be here. And we don't know what went on in the locker room, with the coaches, or
yeah.
whatever. Um,
There's
I mean,
various bits and bobs that play into it. So
yeah. I mean, I could honestly see Nils just going, okay, I want to be traded or I want to go somewhere else or, buy me out and whatever, because he's not getting any play time. But, same thing is a coach has got to trust you to put you out there,
right.
you
You
know?
don't have trust, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
Just ask Nils.
And it's, even his final year, it was still hard for me to believe because it wasn't like Val wasn't trying. I mean, he was getting shots on goal. He was getting good looks. He just couldn't get nothing to go.
Yeah.
It was he kind of had that whole Yanmark thing.
Yeah.
He would get a great breakaway and he just couldn't score.
Mm-hmm.
So, as much as I liked him and everything, sometimes a change of scenery does a player good. And this time, 2 changes of scenery did him good. Going back home to Russia and then, coming back and, he was a different player.
It's
So,
almost like he needed that reset to go back home too.
yeah.
When I hear it like that, like maybe he just needed a reset totally.
This one's going to be a very interesting series. So
I don't know that it goes 7.
I don't know. I mean, whoever gets the first win is very much going to have the upper hand. Um, because they are so evenly matched. You know, I think we've got the edge in goaltending. You know, because there were games even this year before they got to the playoffs that their goalie, he was shaky.
Yeah. But what about their ability to I don't know how you say it, if I'm even saying it right, but when they would change people for about 30 seconds or whatever, and then rest them and then put them right back out.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, McKinnon, he averages probably about, I would be willing to bet, probably about 20 minutes a night. You know,
Wow,
because
a third of the game.
he's going to get double shifted. Because they're going to try to get him. They'll try to get him out with the weaker defenseman of ours. But I
Yeah,
mean, our top two pairing are better than most. You know, so
and the thing I need to remember, I guess, is that they didn't have Tanev for the other games this regular season either.
yeah.
Tanev is a whole different element,
Oh
is what
yeah.
I've learned. Like I think. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just looking up to see what his average time on ice was. For McKinnon's about 22 minutes a night.
22. Okay, so he's playing a third of the game.
Yeah. Ransonen's about 22, almost 23 minutes a night. McCarr's about 24 minutes a night. You know.
God, those are three dangerous names
Yeah.
too.
And then you've still got Drouin. You've still got Nichushkin. Um, you've got Ross Colton. Um, they've got a lot of weapons. So
Sadly,
yeah. You
I
know,
think that
and then you've got guys like Cogliano that, I mean, that guy just keeps going. Um,
I loved him
yeah,
here.
I really, really liked him when he was here. Um, you know, him, Kiviranta, all those guys are, they're running about 10 minutes a night, you know. So
Is Yoel still playing with Colorado?
who?
Kiviranta?
Yeah.
How about is Parisi? Is it Parisi?
He's still there. He's retiring after this season.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Zach Parisi.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, he was in that whole Suter deal to Minnesota.
Yep.
Yeah, he's 39, so
Holy moly.
he's on up there for 18 years worth of playing. So
Gosh. So is he going to factor into this series then?
he very well could. I mean their third line is. I think our third line is going to be better than their third line because our third line is, Ben Wyatt and or Pavelski and Dadenoff or Delandria or whoever else they want to stick on that third line and and go. So
That's crazy, man. I guess we do have a bunch of plug and play people, don't we?
yeah, I mean we've got our own plug and play people that we can move around and and do very well. So
What I want to see right off the bat, if I'm being brutally honest, is the confidence that the Stars have from dethroning Vegas.
yeah,
Like, that is a heck of a feather in their cap. And the more I saw the games play out, the more I thought about it. Like, the Stanley Cup champions are in on the wild card.
yeah,
And that is. The Stars ended up first in the West, right?
yep.
And they played the Stanley Cup champions. What a test
Oh yeah.
for the first round. Like, I don't care.
They by far had the hardest first round matchup.
That is crazy.
Because you look at the East matchups, you had the Rangers playing the Capitals. The Capitals didn't even belong in the playoffs. Then you had Florida and Tampa. Yes, they're the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions, but they're getting old. that core group of players is, they're getting up there in years now. They're all pushing, probably close to 30, if not a little over. You know, Carolina, they had a hard time with the Islanders. Islanders were, I didn't really think they belonged in there. And then you had Boston and, Toronto. So, none of them had super, super hard clubs, you know.
Boston and Toronto went to 7-2, didn't they?
Yes.
That's freaking
And,
wild.
and they went to overtime.
That shouldn't even have been a thing, if you ask me. Why? How?
Well, it's to me, Toronto and Edmonton of a few years ago they're both in that same group. They've got all these young, high talented, high scoring guys that are all individual players. They're all young hot shots, and Toronto, other than John Tavares, that he's been around the block for a while, and they didn't have a whole lot of great veteran leadership.
Yeah.
Edmonton, the exact same thing. You had McDavid, you had Draisaitl, you had Nugent Hopkins, you had Taylor Hall there at one time. All these young hot shots, no veterans.
Yeah.
Or veterans that maybe they would listen to. Now when you've got Dallas, you've got a lot of young hot shots, but then you've also got Jamie that's played over 1,000 games. You've got Pavs that's played over 1,000 games. You've got Suter that's played over 1,000 games. All these guys have been around, done it all, seen it all. Maybe they haven't won that big championship yet, but they've got the respect that any young hockey player is going to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Pavs. I mean, you've got him opening up his home to two of these young hotshots, and you've seen how that's their game has evolved. I mean, Wyatt he's one of the first guys out on the ice. He's one of the last guys to leave the ice. He's always working his shot, no matter, which direction it's coming from, So, that's what these teams need when they have all this young talent. They need that mentorship.
Yeah.
It's more, I think it's more than any other sport. Football, yeah, you've got some guys that have been there, done it all, but those guys hop around from team to team so much. You rarely get a guy that gets on a team and stays on a team, and that's where he finishes his career.
Yep.
And you're sure as hell never going to get a football player that played 1,000 games.
No.
That would take those guys forever.
Well, they don't play 82 game seasons either, so.
Well, they should. What are they, big babies?
Okay, coming from a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, I couldn't watch 82 games of that. I couldn't.
I know, you would find a better sport like hockey.
Hey, my love for hockey goes way back too, so it's just, yeah, I don't know.
Could you imagine NFL teams playing more than 2 games a week?
More than 2 games a week?
A week.
Oh, shoot.
Like if they played on Monday night, they had a game, on Saturday or Sunday or something like that. Can you imagine the amount of guys that would be crying and quitting and retiring and What
Well, I
what
mean,
almost got me last night, and I don't know if they showed this on the TV. Guess what? Everyone's favorite love to hate quarterback was in the arena last night.
Romo.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, oh shit. Oh, sorry. Um, I was just like, ah, we're done. He's here, But at least Jessica Simpson wasn't with him. He had his kids or something like that.
Well, I mean, Romo's married now, so
Yeah.
at
But
least Jessica Simpson wasn't with him. That's cold.
yeah, it's chicken of the sea. So, but yeah, it was, I mean, yeah, they showed him and then they showed, who else was it? A couple of the Rangers players that were hurt.
Hey, at least they got some winners there besides the
Yeah, that's
stars.
what that's what I was thinking. I was like, hey, you imported some people that actually won a championship.
That's the kind of inspiration the stars need, not
Oh yeah.
Romo.
Oh, you can guarantee that those two guys, because one of them was their third baseman. I don't remember what his name is. Uh,
Mm,
that he's got like a broken finger or something like that. Um,
okay. I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name either.
yeah, um,
I'm not a Rangers fan. I'm sorry, guys.
yeah, me neither. I just happened to watch one night and they had him mic'd up and they were talking to him as he was playing, which I think that would be hilarious to do with an NHL player, other than they would have to have their finger on the edit button, for every time that they called somebody a bad word or, cussed at somebody in a foreign language.
You remember when they had Tyler mic'd up? Dude cussed and he's like, oh, sorry for cussing, Canada.
Yep. So,
That's the one that I would mic up right there. Give me Tyler Sagan all day.
oh, I can. I mean, I've heard Jamie mic'd up, and Jamie's kind of funny when he's mic'd up because everybody says, "Oh, he's so quiet," but when he was mic'd up and on the bench, he was a yapper. I mean, he was talking, hollering, guys, what to do, and cheering other dudes on and everything. So, he did. He's not as quiet as everyone thinks he is. He just don't like talking to the fans, which I'm okay with that. I don't care. So,
Yeah, that's a solid point. I mean, we're there to support them, you
hmm
know? Like they don't have to, they're not obligated to do anything but do what they're paid to do.
yeah,
So, I
that's
mean,
all I want them to do. Like I said before, they ain't got to be my friend or anything like that. Just go out there and give me a good winning effort. This year I mean, just absolutely kicked ass. So,
yeah. Tell you what though, when they do talk to you or take the time, it's kind of cool. Like I had before I even had the show here, I had Brad Lukowich on my podcast.
okay, yeah,
And it blew my mind. Like I started talking to him on Twitter. I was like, "Hey, I have this small little podcast. I would love to talk to you. I grew up watching you. You're one of my favorite players." He was at the time and still
hmm
is because of the kind of guy he is. He
yeah,
said, "Yeah." And I was like, I was floored. Like, you're going to take the time for a nobody like me? And he did. And we talked for like an hour.
yeah,
So, like, that's cool as heck. Like, it to me, if they take time for you like that, that makes it more special.
yeah,
You're not obligated to talk to me, but when you take the time to do that and you give me an hour of your time, wow.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah, and that's cool. I mean, you know, so
Yeah, it just trying to back up what you said. They're not obligated to talk to you,
yeah,
but you should think of it as an honor that they do.
yeah,
You really should. Like you're there to help cheer them on, and you can be a big part of that game without being buddy buddy with them.
oh yeah, yeah.
So
And that's why anytime I meet them, or if they sign something for me, or or I've made trades, with certain players and stuff like that, I am always quick to say thank you for for what y'all are doing, and bringing some joy into my life of of sports and things like that, and So it's, some guys are a little more open than others. You can,
which is fine.
yeah, but you can look at that picture and see what I'm talking about that I just sent you.
That's why I started laughing. I saw what you wrote, and then I
Yeah.
saw his face, and the more I see him like that, and the more that I hear him mic'd up and whatnot, the more I love him.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have to be there, and he doesn't have to be the rah guy you think he does.
Yeah. Not
He needs to
not
win.
towards us, you know.
Not be rah to your boys. That's
Yeah.
why you have the C, not because you're cool to me.
Yeah. Now you get him on casino night. We went to a casino night a couple years ago before COVID hit, and yeah, he's a totally different guy there. Jamie was smiling, having fun, shaking hands. I think he'd already had a few drinks in him, so he loosened up a little bit. You know, so
Feeling good.
but I mean, most of the guys that we have met, um, and we'll probably for this next year on our season ticket holder experience, we'll probably do the same thing. That we'll do the tunnel visit and everything. So we've met everybody except for a couple. We still haven't met. I still haven't gotten to talk to Ty to get him to sign this damn board that I've got. Even though that he knows he's supposed to sign it because I've told him about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, just catch me." Yeah, that's the problem.
I'd love to meet and talk to him for a few minutes, man, because he
he's
was the
he's a really nice kid. I got to talk to him a little bit at Six Flags, and he's a really nice kid. So
he seems like it. Like the vibe I get from him, just seeing him smile, it's like
yeah,
he loves to be there, and he probably loves interacting with people like you and me, and because he realizes that's probably a blessing too,
Oh yeah. To me, he was a lot like Hanley was. Hanley was just a genuinely nice guy, and I wrote him after they put him on waivers, and then he got picked up, and I'm like, man, I'm sad that you're still not in our organization, and I said, but if you stay with Calgary and which I hope he gets picked up again, I was like, look for me on the glass, I will still wear, our Hanley stuff that we had because we had one of his game used jerseys and from his first year.
That's awesome.
So, and he was more than happy to sign it when I got it because it was the first year that he was here when he was still wearing 39, I think it was, before he switched to 44.
So
39. And so he was more than happy to sign it. So just a nice guy. So
I love that. That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this series is going to be another tough test for Dallas. I have a feeling they can get by them, but it's going to be a tough test. Dallas is not going to have an easy road to the Stanley Cup.
But they already dethroned the defending champs.
They've already taken down the champs. Now it's time to take down the former champs.
How in the world, and this is out of sheer curiosity because I look at the old scores from this past season, and the only one that gives me hope is 7-4.
Yeah.
How in the world is Dallas going to get past Colorado?
Kind of like this one. They got to stay out of the box. They've got to play their style of game. They can't get into a track meet with Colorado. Plain and simple. They cannot get into a track meet with them. So they've got to keep their defense structured. They've got to capitalize when they get a power play and not let any power plays in. Granted, they against Vegas, they got their defense locked in, but they still let in a couple of quick power plays.
Boy, did they.
So
that very first game of the series, that was tough.
Well, it's hard when it's a tip in, and because we've seen Pavs do it, we've seen Jamie do it, and make it an utter thing of beauty. And it really was. It was Hannafin threw it, Stone tipped it, and Jake was screened. So they did three things right.
Yeah.
So, I can't blame, I can't blame Jake on those. I mean, even the other night, the shot from Hannafin that went in between Suter and I forgot who he was locked up with, Carrier or somebody, and it got through and went to the far post. I mean, when you can't see it, you can't stop it.
Right.
So, but
Well,
you know,
I mean,
it's
go ahead.
it's gonna be a tight game. There might be one or two high scoring games in there. If Dallas can get to their legs, and back McCarr and Taves off, um, I think they can do some damage. And Gorgiev has been shaky against Dallas before. He was shaky in this last round. I mean, geez, look at that first game. What was it, 7-6 or 7-5 or something like that?
Oh
That
yeah.
very first game against the Jets. You know,
Yeah, that's right. One of my
that's the deal that Dallas cannot get into. And the bad thing
true.
about it is if they get past Colorado, then you've still got to look at getting past Edmonton and Vancouver, which, they've played decent against both of them, but they've also had their problems against both of those teams. So,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a cakewalk for them to get to the finals. And if they do get knocked out, the West is by far right now is the toughest division for these last four teams that are left standing. There's not any soft teams in there.
No, not by
You know,
any stretch.
because in the East, Boston looks very very shaky. Because in all honesty, that last game that could have gone either way.
Yep.
And
Sure good.
Carolina and the Rangers, I would give the slight edge to the Rangers just because of their goaltending. You've got Shesterkin over there, and he's a monster.
He is.
So, but anyway, all right, man. Well, we're looking at an hour right now, so I got a few things to do before I got to go to work in the morning for a little bit, and then come home
Sounds like it.
and come home, take a nap, get ready for the late game.
Yeah, I might need you to keep my goofy self awake if you don't mind.
These freaking late games are killing me. It's like, why?
I think the first three are supposedly late, are they not? Like 8:30ish?
Yeah, they're both 8:30s, and then Saturday is a 9 o'clock start.
9 o'clock. That's
I
right.
I don't understand why the NHL is not playing the East games on one day, the West games on the other day.
I don't know.
So, but
That's the way NFL does it.
yeah.
One on one, one on the other. Yeah.
So
Whatever. All
all right,
right.
man. Well, we'll see what happens in the next few days. We'll see how they respond, and you know, Colorado's been sitting there for 7 days, so maybe there'll be a little rust, and Dallas will jump right on them and catch them off guard, and take game one right quick, and so.
God, that'd be nice. All
All right,
right.
then.
Yeah. I will check you. You want to do another show this week, you think?
Yeah,
Or
we can do another one. So
right on. I've got somebody coming on tomorrow, and I got somebody on Saturday. So
okay. All right, man. Well, we will talk at you later.
yes, sir. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Not a problem. Go Stars.
Go Stars. Thank y'all for listening. We're out.
All right. Talk to you
Bye.
later. Bye.
Yes, sir.